get the feeling we're overrun. Sending boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging neck, bring extra rounds. Hang in there, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them all to heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slip the doors away. What you gonna do?
Happy Sunday, folks. How you doing? It's Gene again with the Double S Podcast. Hopefully, y'all have been enjoying the air conditioning through the heat wave. And hopefully by the time you're watching this, the heat wave is over and it's just a normal summer. But we'll see. Not going to complain about it, dude. It's at least we can get out and go fishing, right? I mean, weather's decent. That lightning, however, lightning storms, that stuff can just piss right off. We're not dealing with that again. We've already lost a whole lot of stuff around the house, but we're back on a normal PC again, so hopefully my camera won't freeze throughout this whole deal like it was when I was running on the back up there, so we should get going. This, more than likely, you are watching this recorded episode on the 9th. No, what am I talking about? We're talking about the 6th of July. So if we are not responding to your comments while you're posting them up here, know that we're not being rude. We're just not actually here, man. It's this is a recording. We're not live. And so just understand we still appreciate your tuning in and checking out this. And please do leave the comments, because I come back to the shows after we're back in the studio and we check and run through those comments. So we'll reply to them. If you got a comment or something that you feel like you need to get it to me immediately, just throw me a DM. I'm not quite sure what that could be, but if it is, you can always get a hold of me that way. But chances are I will be out of the office for this one. That's why we're going recorded with this. All right, so let's go ahead and get the bills paid here. All right, you know this is pre-recorded. Every one of the Double S Podcast shows this season brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. # helping is healing. Go check them out. All the alternative methods we have to heal our brothers and sisters around this nation here, from the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance Mobile Monument to our division, which is the Field Ops Division, where the True Patriot Outfitters manages that and runs that, where we get our nation's war fighters and our community heroes outdoors and we go fishing. And yeah, man, we're not claiming that we're curing anything, but we are certainly improving quality of life and creating a pathway to healing out there. Also, check out the Stop 22 tour. This is music by veterans for veterans. Sal Gonzalez, who provides our intro music here, is obviously one of the core members of the Stop 22. Stephen Cochran, Chris Turner, Jonathan Wells, just a great, amazing group of singer-songwriters. And these are United States veterans providing that form of healing. Check that piece out there. And of course, I'd be remiss if we didn't also remind you about the Hoosiers with Hearts disaster relief team that's associated with us. That's Dave White and his crew out there, bringing food and resources around anytime Mother Nature strikes in that neck of the woods of the country. That's a huge, huge portion that they chip in. Also sponsoring the show, of course, the mothership, Heroes Media Group, Mr. Adam Bird, all the great podcasts that are over there. We're proud to be a part of the Heroes Media Network out here in the podcast, bringing you all kinds of different podcasting topics and great deals. We just had the People's Patriot Project on a couple episodes ago. Those folks are amazing. Love those guys. Hoping to get a chance to maybe connect with them in July, when might be making a run up north there to Minnesota. So if we do that, we're going to try to swing by and see them, and we'll be having a lot more hosts on here from there. So Heroes Media Group, go to heroesmediagroup.org, I believe it is, .com, one of the two, .something, and check them out there, and you'll see all the great podcasts. And if you want to be cool, hey, I'm just saying, if you want to be cool, get you some TPO merch. Run over to our store at truepatriotoutfitters.org/store-2 and check out the hats, the T-shirts. We're going to be getting some new hats, too. We're going to be getting some new stuff coming through because, quite frankly, this past weekend, we sold a pile of hats. And so we're going to be needing to restock here, which is a good problem to have. All right, the bills are paid. Our guest tonight is, hands down, the biggest supporter of the True Patriot Outfitters to date so far. and we're going to be introducing you to this young lady and her entire. Well, how do I say that? She's got her businesses that she runs. You're going to learn more about her. We're going to learn about her family. So the whole shebang, man. We're going to get her resume, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is, almost, without really like us. I mean, we work for her. That's the way we look at it from here on out. This is this is someone who has taken care of the True Patriot Outfitters to the point where we could operate this year in a major way and get out there and do all the stuff you've been seeing us do so far and the stuff we're going to keep doing. So before we bring her into the studio, just want to give you also a fast update on the True Patriot Outfitters. This past couple weeks has been super busy. By the time you're watching this, we completed our work with Thornton Fire Department. That was huge. What an amazing turnout. We've already been invited back for next year's peer support group there, where they do their little bass fishing tournaments there, and it's all Thornton Fire Department and their families come out. That first night there was 50 plus. The second night probably 30, 40. It was amazing. And what just a cool group of people, man. We were so honored to be out there and hang out with those guys and see that it was a private lake set up there, so lots of kids were swimming. Kids all got fishing poles. Really awesome deal. Plus, the following day after that, we were invited by Outdoor Colorado, who is another nonprofit up north there. They provide guided fishing trips to families and kids specifically. You want to talk about an organization that's doing it right, man, on how to support your community, and then their outreach towards other nonprofits just to help us out. They provided us with a sponsorship hole so we could set up there our table and talk to the golfers as they came by. And dude, I'm telling you, we've booked a trip out of there. We've got a police officer and her son we're going to be taking out. We got that trip lined up. We sold a pile of hats. We got donations to us. We got people wanting to volunteer with us. It was a great Sunday to be there. So we're hoping to keep a lot of that stuff going. Also, by the time you're watching this, I think we've had one or two other field ops events that we've run as well. I gotta check the calendar, man, and hopefully, maybe by the time you see this, I'll also be telling you that I'm qualified for the Bassmaster National Championship. On a personal note, I'm gonna run over to Nebraska this on the weekend here and see if we can compete in Nebraska's state championship. So we'll see how that goes. Can't leave fishing out, man. I mean, that's part of the MO. All right, so that's kind of the update on where we're at with that stuff. Let's, without further ado, she's been patiently waiting in the green room here. Let's go ahead and bring her into the show, Miss Dianna Rands. What's happening, Dianna? How are you?
Hello.
So after we wrestled and fought with the technology monsters, we got it all squared away now. you're all set and good to go.
Fingers crossed it holds.
That's right. So for those folks of you out there who don't know who Dianna is and how her relationship works with the True Patriot Outfitters and me, a while back, I guess this was about just over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, a guy that I consider my brother invited me to this group called the Referral Partnership Group. The Referral Partnership is a different kind of business networking group in that it's not just leads that you hand out to each other. What this is we spend extra time to literally focus on getting to know the other business owners and business executives, so that when we make a referral, we feel confident of putting our name next to the person that we're referring. So the cool thing about this one is you just really get to know each other, I think, a lot better. It's one of the reasons I think that having the social aspect of the TRP is so important, is because that helps in that process, right? And that is where Dianna and I met. You used to run the show there. You were the chair, I think, the first time I was ever introduced, which was like 2-3 years ago. I didn't join then because I just didn't think, was it that long ago?
During COVID.
Then maybe not, because I didn't get here till 21. Yeah, I didn't move back to Colorado till 2021. But I remember meeting you back then. But you didn't have the Chill Shop back then. I think you had your digital marketing company back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe it's 22, 21. I don't know.
something
COVID
like that.
messed us all up.
Right? Time. Math is hard. But that's where Dianna and I met. And from day one, it's been awesome to get to know everybody in there, and obviously getting to know you, Diana, and then learn just the different things that you have, rolling out there. And right now, and has been for several years here, right, is the Chill Shop where you're.
I'm
That's
trying to
right.
represent a little bit.
Nice. You got some swag. Always a good thing, right? We got to flash the camera for for our swag to show up. So yeah, talk to us about the Chill Shop here. What exactly is the Chill Shop? What it is and what you do?
Well, as you mentioned before, I had a digital marketing company, ironically, Chill Digital Marketing. Um,
Nice.
and during COVID, everything moved home for all of us. We were all living, and so the Chill Shop really was born out of I needed a creative outlet because I was just at home. I was never leaving. None of us were leaving the house. And I was getting bored just walking down the hall to go to work.
Stir crazy, right?
Yeah. And so I just wanted to be creative. So I started, as a lot of us did, I didn't go down the sourdough baking route. I probably would have opened a bakery if that had been what spawned back then. But I've always loved jewelry, so I went down Google, as we all did, Googling all sorts of DIY, this and that and the other, and just got into making jewelry because I've always worn and loved jewelry as long far as I can remember. And so I started making it. Well, it might have been 21, who knows, that I was the chair of TRP. And you haven't been chair yet because it's a rotating, position for the group. But I would do the emails every week, and no soon as I hit send, I'm getting an email, "Hey, where can I find this and that?" And I'm like, "It's in the email. It's in the email." And so I started hiding little tips and did you knows and whatevers about the group in the email. And then when we would come to the meetings, I would say, "Who read whatever, who found the hidden message of the week?" And
Right.
whoever guessed it got a piece of jewelry. So I was like making it as prizes, if you will. And people were like,
Booty snacks.
I mean, big motivator, I think, for some of the guys in the group. But either way, I was told you should be selling this. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I tend to have shiny object syndrome often. So I was like, if it sticks, okay. And I was like, I'll give it 6 months if I'm still this enamored with it. And 6 months later, I was still very enamored with it. So slowly started, folding up the tent of the marketing company and created the Chill Shop. And my camera's not angled quite right, but chill comes from Charlie and Will. So that's how I get the name Chill. So that's why I didn't want to lose it when I transformed businesses or whatever.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Well, and isn't it true though? I mean, I've had this in my career where I was good at something, but I didn't necessarily like love it. But doing something that you have a passion for, or that really strikes something more than just a skill set. I mean, there's something to be said for that, right? I mean, there's a value to that makes it not feel near, even when it's long hours, it doesn't feel as much.
Right. And like one of the things that was a little bit of an epiphany for me is, I would go down to the basement and start making stuff. And next thing you know, my husband's like, "You going to bed?" It's like hours would go by and you're lost in the joy of something. And if COVID taught us anything, it was do what you love.
For real, and there's something to be said. I told you the first time you brought for your presentation, you came in and you had us actually building some. Uh, I got gorilla fingers, right? And so when I start using like tying small knots and stuff with fishing line, it's like that's why I hate finesse gear, right? In the fishing game, I would rather take 50-pound braid and tie on a frog with a big old gnarly knot on it and sling it into the weeds. That's more my speed. But I'm going to tell you right now, there is so many similarities and parallels here between building tackle, be it jigs or other, tying different, tying jigs and assembling them, and doing what we did with you, that building of jewelry. There was something extremely therapeutic about it, especially when we're sitting around a table with others and just chewing the fat. You know what I mean? We're just sitting here putting this stuff together, letting the creative juices kind of go. I'm a moron over here, right? We were making a keychain thing, and what did I do? I go with my favorite jig colors, and I start making, I decide my keychain's going to look like my favorite fishing lure. But I'll tell you what, just taking that time working with the beads and the leather, the straps and such, and just that mechanical, but then also social ability to sit there and talk to people next to you and just chew it up. There was something extremely therapeutic about that. And so that was, I've yet to get it put together, but that is going to be something I would love to be able to offer during, the winter time. With the community, as we get this community built a little bit bigger and a little bit more communication going, is between rod building and jig building and other tackle. Also, this ability to make jewelry, because fellas, I guarantee you, if you take the time and go through and make something like this, your wife or your daughter is going to absolutely love it. 100%. Maybe even your son. I mean, they're doing the bracelets and such, those cool things as well. So whomever you give it to, when they know that you made it, it just carries more weight, man. It just flat out does. And it's a lot better than a crayon, stick figure picture. I'll tell you.
The tongue depressors or popsicle sticks that you glue. Yes. Well, and that kind of, for your audience that isn't aware of me, because I'm pretty sure this is the first anyone's hearing of me from your audience. One of the things, those of you that are local in the Colorado area, I have workshops. So when Jean's talking about me bringing stuff to the group and everybody's making keychains that day, I offer classes because, yes, it is very therapeutic. I think I hear the word therapeutic every time I have a class from at least one person, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it truly is. Like I said, it carries all of the things you're looking for. It's got the focus piece. It's got the what is it? Textile, tactile interaction piece that you're looking for. Bottom line is, like I've said this before, I don't need a lab coat to tell me what I feel when I do something or when somebody gives me feedback on something. Man, that's the real, convincer right there. And yeah, there is something really, really cool. I loved watching some of the other guys in the group also, like Jim, watching him go through there and build his keychain and such. That was fantastic. I need to see Logan. I want to see his gorilla hands in there really working away on something like this.
Yeah, he joined after that
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that whole making of your own jewelry, when you started getting into that, now are all the pieces that you sell to Chill Shop stuff that you've made, or do you buy some of these like
No, I
alone?
design and create everything that's sold on the website.
That is awesome. So I've got the website over here. Let me see if I can actually pull it up here. So now, did you go through like schooling for this, or is this just the vision of Dianna that we're getting the essence of your
The
creativity?
like my style or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So, it's funny. My youngest child a couple of weeks ago was asking me, "What's your process?" Because they're an artist as well, but more in the realm of digital art and stuff.
right,
And I was like, well, I go to my vendor and to be brutally honest, will see what is on sale at the time versus paying full price.
right,
And just, it's and maybe this is why this is what I meant to do. And I don't know what other professional jewelry makers, their processes are, because all of mine is kind of self-taught, but I just go and look and see what is I think can look good together, and then I buy that and it comes in and I make the things. But I just throw stuff in front of myself, like what's going to go together, and
Right.
then just make it.
See, that's the part where I have no clue. I could sit there. That stuff could be just smashing me square in the face, and I does that go together? I have no idea. I mean, you've seen the way I dress when left to my own. When the wife's not around. You've seen that, Diana. I'm not a style's not
Yeah,
my
so
thing.
this year for each month I'm doing the birthstones of the month. So for June it's pearls and moonstones. So that's what this
This is super
collection
cool.
is that you're
And
looking at.
and even I can tell. I mean, these things are super cool. I like these. Not like I'm going to wear them, but I like them.
Well, and you did a very kind thing for your wife at Christmas and got her some cute Christmas
Yeah.
earrings.
And she wore those. She got all kinds of compliments on those as well.
Oh, those are some of my favorite earrings for the holidays.
So yeah,
Um,
the website here. I mean, is you got your classes, you got your contact, the about information. Of course, hey, that's you.
whoa, that's a big shot.
It is like
That's blown up.
right there. It is blown up on
But
the.
if you scroll up, oh wait, scroll down. Let's not look at me. Keep going down to the text. If you see there, second to last line, it says giving back
Yep.
page.
Hmm.
Click on that. This kind of is a good segue.
So my something
Is it
about
pulling it
my
up?
yeah. Oh wait. Oh, that's right. It opened up in a new. Hang on.
Um,
It opened it up in a different
a
window
new window.
that I'm sharing. One sec here. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
a small marketing tidbit. If you ever put links on a page,
yeah,
have it always open a new page because then it's going to keep that current one open longer. So it gives you longer read rates for the page.
that's awesome. So give me one sec to share that. I'm going to remove this one. Da-da-dee-da-dee. We're going to stop that. Then I'm going to share screen again. There it is. And we'll share this one. And let's go ahead and just blow this up. All right. So yes, the giving back to the true Patriot Outfitters. We know those dudes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's a bit blown, your logo there.
I think it's my
Apologies.
browser. I think it's my browser that's doing it. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It could be.
Well,
I haven't.
pixelated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things that I have always been passionate about giving back in various ways. One being local community give backs. And so 5% of sales, not 5% of profits, 5% of sales for 2025 are going to true Patriot Outfitters. So you can support them by purchasing.
Right. And this is what we talk about all the time on the shows about the collaboration thing, about helping each other. That's the Romans Warrior Foundation. Its motto has always been from Brian Romans is helping is healing, and that's how do we find a relationship that works for everybody, and that is one that's mutually beneficial. Where we can bring business to folks. And when we find the diamonds in the rough like you that want to do something more than just business, there's also the community involvement of taking care of that section of the community. That's huge. So we want to do what we can to try to elevate that and let people be aware of of those businesses out there that are doing that type of help. It's a big deal, and it's not it's not often that we run across that. You'd think it would be, but it really isn't. And so yeah, it's something very special when we meet somebody like the Chill Shop and Miss Dianna Rands. You hold a very special place in our heart here, and it's a pleasure to go out and put that support to work. And be it in the hot sun, be it early mornings, it's all good. I like I was telling a few people, there's no way I can complain. Okay, I mean, at the end of the day, I go fishing. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking people fishing. Yes, it's mentally a more work than I've ever done mentally and emotionally. Um, but physically, no, it's not that hard. It's some odd hours, but holy crap, I'm not punching a clock, man. So yeah, we're
Right?
we're 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 doing pretty good with that. So yeah, so
Exactly.
5% of all sales going to, and that's from the shop and the classes and such. The thing I
Hmm.
also loved, and I'm going to tell you, is the fact that I'm looking through like the website there. The prices are an affordable price. That folks, it's not like let's. I'm just going to be straightforward and on PC because that's what the double S is about. You think Boulder, you think, yep, there goes the price through the roof, because that's pretty much what Boulder's known for, right? Is just
Hmm.
this inflated or, and that's not the chill shop. That's not what you are running there. You have, you know, jewelry in here that is priced that people can afford it, people can get it, that don't need a $200,000 a year job to be able to afford these things, or don't need
Right.
a loan to buy jewelry, you know,
And
type thing.
even with the workshops, they're priced around 35 to $45, depending on,
Very
what we're
reasonable.
making.
Yeah, and I mean, that's extremely reasonable. Plus, your shop is super cool. It's easy. It's easy to find. Very open. Very, it's got a good vibe,
I'm trying.
right? It's dad joke time. It's very chill when when you go out there, and yeah, that was super cool being able to see your shop over there in Boulder as well. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's hopefully you and I, mainly me, can get my head removed from the orifices that it remains jammed in, and I can
Please.
figure out the schedule that we want to start offering these up as setting up some of these classes where we can get in some of the people we work with here and their family members, try to get them into a couple of these workshops and do some cool stuff. And who knows, maybe even we'll throw in a tying a jig or something in there as well.
Yeah,
Make some earrings
definitely.
and a fishing lure, man.
Or fish and lure earrings.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love that, right? So, so yeah, we'll piece that. Now, over the years, I've had a chance over the year ish plus two, whatever it is, close. We've had a chance to get to know each other pretty well, and learning about your family. There, we have some war fighters here in your family, and
Hmm.
some true patriots and heroes of this country. Both you and your husband's fathers served in the United States military. Now, both, if I remember correctly, both in the Navy. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
talk about let's talk about what you and I were chatting with offline. There, we discovered that your dad was in the Navy and he did actually air traffic control is what he.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, a little clarification for your listeners as well. My father passed away when I was 13. So I was expressing to Jean the other week when we were talking about how, it sucks that, youth is wasted on the young because as you get older and you have your own children, you have all these questions and I
Yeah.
don't get to ask them because he passed away in 87. So I was a little kid. But when he passed away, there was a headstone. And then when we went back to his grave many years later, I'm like, what's ACAN? So I had to do a little research on that.
That was super cool. And isn't that the truth? One of the best ways to continue to carry forward their legacies, though, is doing like what we're doing right now. Is we say their names, we tell their stories of what we know of their stories. Our memories of them, and what we remember of that. And it's cool to kind of figure that out. But there's always that deal of wanting to. Man, I wish I knew more. I wish I had more time to figure
Hmm.
it out. Right? What
Hmm.
so and as far as do you know? Did we ever determine what time frame was he serving in the Navy? Do you remember that?
So, well, he lied
That's
and said he was
right.
18.
Yeah, and he was
He
16
was
actually.
he was 16 or 17. Um, Another tragedy. Short lifespan on his side of the family. By 9, he was orphaned and he lived in a boys' home in Kentucky. So just to get out of that home, he lied about his age. And so if he was born in 39, October 39, now we have to math.
Right? So
39,
that would make
49.
57. So just
So
after
we could say
Korea.
55-ish
Yeah.
if he was 16, 50, somewhere around there. Late 50s would have been, I guess, when he.
So pretty much towards the tail end of the Korean War. Yeah.
So he got stationed in Newfoundland and met his first wife and brought her back to the States. They had 3 kids, divorced. She went back to Canada because they were little, where she raised them. Then he met my mom, had 3 kids. My mom jokes, there's 6 of you that we know of. Because you know those Navy men.
Navy. I was going to say Navy guy.
And he's like, there's 6 of you that we know of. So yeah, I have 3 Canadian siblings. Yeah, that are older than me. And I'm from Georgia. My parents met in Georgia, even though my father grew up in Kentucky, which is where he's buried as well. But we always joke, yeah, we're true rednecks. My youngest sister has a niece 2 years older than her.
That is awesome. I too have, for my biological father, have some half brothers and sisters. I think they're younger than me. I don't know. Have never really connected. I have no
Oh,
clue.
interesting.
I don't know where they're at. I'm guessing Pennsylvania, Nebraska, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Harry was an army guy. I think. I mean, that was the rumor, right? I don't know. I don't know much about him, my biological, but yeah, it's
Gotcha.
it's a different deal when you have the half brothers and such.
Well, we kept in touch to the extent there was about a 20-year gap from him passing.
Oh
And,
wow.
like obviously we were kept in touch when he was alive because they were his kids. And a funny story, I know this is more warrior place, but when I was 3, my half siblings were coming down from Canada to stay the summer with us. And so my parents were preparing me, you have these half siblings, and I had known about them just my whole existence, but it was getting real and real. And I started panicking because imagine a 3-year-old brain. I'm like, is it the top half of their body, the bottom half of their body? Are they cut down the center and it's the left or right? Like, what half is coming?
That is awesome. You've always been a creative little girl, apparently.
And I started getting so scared. And I can't remember if I voiced it to my mom and she explained it, or I just waited till they showed up and realized
Why
they
are
were
they
whole
only
people.
half?
What half is coming?
Oh, that's great. That is
Yeah,
awesome stuff. Yeah, I don't think I ever worried about that.
yeah,
No,
that was yeah, whatever.
that
But
is
yeah, no,
cool.
it was good. And then there was in the 80s, my 2 brothers had moved down and actually lived with us for a few years. And I just thought they were so cool. They had Trans Am T-top and they
Nice.
were just so cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What was his name?
Franklin Eugene Simpson Sr.
That is a fantastic middle name, by the way.
I know, that's why I said I would always remember your name.
That's
And
right.
the other funny thing is he was named after his uncle.
Oh,
Um, but back in Kentucky, when we would go up and visit, again, I was a little kid. I was so confused. My parents traumatized me. But we go there and everybody's like, Gene this, Gene that. And I'm like, who the fuck is Gene? Because it's not even Eugene. I did.
yep.
What do I know? And
Yeah.
my mom's like, that's what everyone calls daddy. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, So back in those days, like even when I was born, 1972, fathers actually still had some like rights and abilities at the hospital, right, for paperwork. Like when my kids were born, didn't matter if I was married, not married. I couldn't sign, do anything. It had to be the mother to do
Mm.
it. That's just the way it was here. But in '72, that and probably obviously earlier, it wasn't always the case. And so when my mother was in recovery, Harry went downstairs and signed the paperwork and made me Harry Eugene Campbell. It was third grade, living in Florida, my teacher taking roll call attendance, and she's calling out Harry Campbell. And I'm looking around like, hey, there's another Campbell in here. Who the hell is that? I had no idea my name was Harry because
You didn't even know.
no idea. I had never been called that. My mother never talked about it much at all with me. And even on the envelope that my birth certificate, she was so not cool with that. She wrote on the envelope jeans. So from day one, I was Gene, and I didn't know who Harry Campbell was. That teacher's looking at me like, "Oh, going to be a smartass about it, are you?" And I'm like, "What? You're telling me my name is Harry?"
See, that is the toughness of us Gen Xers. We were
Right?
traumatized our entire childhood,
Totally. And we made it. You know, no worse for wear.
right? Well, I don't know, maybe a little worse, but
Right. No, there were no safe spaces in those days. Safe space to me was the woods. That's where I
right,
went. You know,
right.
get
You
out in
go
the
to the
woods.
woods now, you might get snatched.
Right. Now I go healed, so I'm not too worried about it.
Oh,
No, that is awesome. And also your husband's father, he also served in the Navy, but not at the same time, or was it similar times or
well, I don't think so. I think like maybe when my dad was getting out, he might have been coming in because he was younger than my dad.
okay.
And I know my dad only did the 4 years. So,
Gotcha.
um, and my father-in-law also only did the 4 years. But his story was, I don't have is I mean, I have limited information on my dad, but I have limited information on him as well because he's my father-in-law. Um, but in the years that I knew him which was obviously way past his Navy days, he was like integrating himself into the Navy and the history he had with it, and like had gone to an aircraft carrier a couple of years ago or a few years before he passed, and
Nice.
like flew in on one and got to watch planes taking off and then flew back out.
So
And
cool.
I think I told you the story. He went and found his old Navy jumper suit thing, and I could still he zipped himself into it.
Squeezed into the bad
Right.
boy.
But he
That's
had
awesome.
gotten, and I had told you these stories as well, but he had gotten his pilot license while in the Navy, but not for the Navy. So he
Right.
wasn't a Navy pilot, but all the things that he got to learn while he was there, he learned how to fly.
At
And
his
I
domestic
guess
license. Yeah.
in the 60s, things are a little more, at least the stories, the way I interpreted the stories, I could be completely wrong, but things were a little more lax. And it's like you could check out a plane like a library book, but you had to stay in certain airspace. But he would sneak it off and go to New York to see, he was, I think, in the Virginia area, go to New York to see my mother-in-law when they were just dating. It's like, I don't think you could do that now.
Yeah, you wouldn't make it too far.
And then one time he had engine failure and landed the plane on a little barrier island. No crash. Everything was fine. Of course, you got busted for going out of airspace. And
What
years
the
later,
hell are
when
you
I
doing out
was,
here?
and then years later, when he started flying privately, just he bought a plane and would just tool around Michigan in it. And we would go flying, but he was, learning like something new. So he had instructor in the plane with him. I don't know what they were doing. Mind you, this was late 60s, early 70s, that he's doing
Right.
this. And engines go out and he lands it in a cornfield. I'm like, I will never be scared to fly with you because you
See,
can land a plane without engines.
you told me that, but I got to tell you, this dude has something where the engines don't want to work with him. So I don't know. I mean, it's cool that he can land them, but damn, he shouldn't have to. What's going on with the engine?
But yeah, it was always fun to go flying with him for sure.
That is awesome.
Definitely.
And I don't know if you had a chance to hear many of his previous stories, but one of the things that I absolutely love about that generation is it doesn't matter if they remember what they had for breakfast yesterday or if they remembered to take the trash out or whatever. When it comes to telling stories about their time serving, man, the detail that locks in their brains of the people they served with and the missions at hand and the conditions they were in, I marvel at that so many times when we hear that generation talk about those things because it's ingrained in their heads and it's in their memories and they can recall these things so vividly.
Mhm.
And it's just something that I just sit back and I could watch those interviews and sit and listen to those stories for hours on end because it's really super cool to hear that. I don't know if he ever had a chance to share any of those stories, if that was any of that like
I
that with
didn't
him.
get any of those stories, but I tell you, you and my husband should go have a coffee one day,
Nice.
because there was dear, dear family friends of my husband's parents, um, to the point we called them Great Grandma Helen and Great Grandpa Hank, even though there was zero blood relation. But Great Grandpa Hank served in the Marines in the Korean War, and
Wow.
he lived to 90. He passed away several years ago. I was fortunate enough to get to know him. Um, but my husband grew up hearing all the stories
Wow.
of Great Grandpa Hank, and so, but my husband has that fly trap memory, so he can tell you every story. But one of the big things, and like as I came into the family when I was in my 20s, and it's like, okay, if Hank's asleep in a chair, you don't wake him up
Oh wow.
because
Yeah.
that startle reflex from the war, it's just like boom right there. Like you can't wake
Wow.
a sleeping Marine from the Korean
Yeah.
War.
Yeah. I don't think I'd do that even to this date here.
But
Yeah.
my husband has tons of great stories because he would just sit with rapt attention,
Yeah.
at the side of the armchair of Hank's seat and just hear all the stories. He was very fascinated.
That's so cool, and it's just to hear their perspective on these things. It's just a powerful deal, and it's a reminder of the generations before and the things that they endured so that we could be here today. And it to me, I think it carries a ton of value with that. That connection piece, having the service piece, is that why you and your family choose to find ways to support the community, is because it's kind of a paying it forward because of the family service? What I mean, because in every essence of the word, Dianna, you're philanthropic as it gets. You are a philanthropist when at least in our eyes. The support you gave the True Patriot Outfitters this past year here is, it put us in, it made us a player out here, one that we weren't too sure if we were going to be. And then with your family support and your decision to do that with us, I mean, it put us in a position to where, dude, we're investing. We now have, that's what we chose to do with this, is we now have the four kayaks that we take out every time are now completely motorized. We have all the gear we need. We have the lithium powered from Amped Outdoors. We have the batteries for these things. And I'll tell you, it's one of the things that kind of separates us from other services out there, and it's what, especially I know the firefighters that I was speaking with, they were geeking out with me when they started hearing about the motors, and that, yeah, man, we're going fishing, dog. All right, this isn't just going out on the water and enjoying Mother Nature. Yes, it is that, but
Mhm.
I'm just, just being real. We're going fishing, and you're going to have gear and equipment that you should have to be safe and go have fun, right? I mean, this is something we wanted to do, is give them an experience, and
Mhm.
that's what we've been able to do with this. And of course, the marketing side. I know there was a show earlier this year that we had a chance to go to, and not tooting our own horn, but we were one of the best looking vendor setups
Nice.
sitting there because of that ability that you gave us, for us to
Oh,
actually now, it's that power perceived is power received. People see that, no, we're
mhm.
serious about this, man. We're not here just for a day or two, right? I mean, we're not here for a
Right.
year or two until I decide to hang it up. The True Patriot Outfitters, my objective is to build this thing way beyond me and let somebody else carry it forward, because it's important, to get people outdoors, to reconnect, to make that mission and purpose and community. So, yeah. And so what brought you to that? Is that just been something always part of you guys, or did you guys decide, you know what? Screw this. One day, we're going to start doing this.
Well, I still, even though, as I've mentioned, sadly they've already passed, I always say I aspire to be like my in-laws when I grow up, because these people were the most giving, selfless people I know, and I just absolutely adore them and miss them terribly. Um, and so part of it comes from that influence over the last 20 plus years of my life. And then, I mean, even for myself, I remember, feeding the homeless with my church back when I was in high school and stuff like that. And I didn't come from huge means, by any stretch of the imagination. So even when you don't have a lot, giving what you can kind of thing is always just sat with me. Not that my parents pushed that. No, I take that back. My mom didn't so much, but my dad, the Navy man that he was, who came from nothing and you know was as successful as he could be, um, he would, to the detriment of my mother's sanity, he would take a homeless person off the street, bring them to our house, bathe them, give them an outfit, give them a toiletry bag, and then go put them back on the corner that he got them from. And I say to the detriment of my mother's sanity because we were robbed many times, and it's sadly because some of the people he chose, but he would do that all the time.
Wow.
Bring homeless people into our, like that's going beyond giving someone a burger on the corner or,
Right.
giving them a buck in their cup.
Yeah.
And so he always did that. So probably that's where it got rooted in me. But even with my kids, as you know, with TRP, we feed, one of our things is community service, and we feed the homeless. So my kids, since they were 11, 12, have fed the homeless here in Boulder. And I think that's good for them to not be so, as you were talking about the community here being encapsulated in the privilege that is everywhere around here. I'm
Yep.
like, you guys don't know how good you have it.
Right.
But but then, like, on the short tails of that, like, yes, I've always had this drive to give when I could. When there's someone steering, not to use a dad pun metaphor, the ship, as someone like you, it's hard not to want to support because you see the passion that you have and you see the drive that you have and you see the vision. Because I remember standing in the parking lot, I'm like, what are your overhead costs?
Yep.
And then when you told me, I didn't say anything to you because I had to go speak with my husband, but it's like,
Sure.
I think we can help with that.
And I use our friendship and your support so many times in examples to people. Um, one of the conversations, one of the things that I learned early on about nonprofit work is And this came from the guy that sits on his big smiling face is on the front of most of my banners and my flyers, and that's Justin Patterson. Sergeant Pat taught me from day one that, this isn't about me. Don't ever make it about you. You're going to get a lot of people that want to talk with you, and give you a lot of kudos, and that's fine, but make sure people understand it's the mission. That's what you want them to really understand and grasp to. And I remember telling you that, and your response to me opened my eyes and just educated me on so many levels, because you, and I'm paraphrase this, but you told me, I love your mission. But it's my belief in you, Gene, that you're going to make that vision happen, and that's why I want to support this. So I understood once again that there's balance in everything, man. We got to have that good balance to this. So yeah, I can't just sit back behind the curtains and pull the strings, on the puppet show. I have to be out there, and I have to share with people the truth that is what I believe in my heart about this, the True Patriot Outfitters. I'm not always going to do things the way people want them to be done. I'm not always going to do things, I've already run into that, with a couple team members that we had. They had different ideas on where I should be spending my time and such. And I always respect their opinions. But my response was very clear that, that's cool. I disagree with you, and I'm sorry, but this is the way the TPO is going to go. And that's, it's because it's my time and energy. It's my family that's poured so much into this from the day one, and I have a vision, and I feel strongly about where this vision is taking us, and we continue to adjust and learn and educate ourselves. Yes, but so yeah, I had to learn that yes, I have to be willing to show people me and make sure that they get a chance to know who I am, so they can see that I'm not some shyster.
Right.
Running something, because they're flat out, those exist in the nonprofit world, right? The other thing, and I don't know if you and I have ever said this out loud, but I'm going to say it out loud here on the podcast because I'm very proud of this. I am pretty sure that you and I, and truth be told, we've never had these discussions because it doesn't come up and it's not really worth it. I have a feeling that you and I sit on some different ends of the spectrum when it comes to certain political topics. And this is what I love about you and our friendship. And this is such a lesson for so many people in the nonprofit game out there to understand this, that while I may have my personal opinions about things, I do not let them intrude or come into my business, because my business is serving those that serve. And that is not exclusive to one side of a political spectrum or another. That is American at its heart. And that's where we all lie with that kind of deal there. And I talk about that with people that have been doing this way longer than me, and I also talk about it with new people coming into the nonprofit game, that, hey man, you can have your feelings all you want, but keep them the hell out of your business when it comes to this, because you never know who you're going to run into that wants to help. And you want to alienate them and call them names without realizing you're calling them names?
Right.
What, are you stupid?
Right.
You
Right.
know? And that's just not in my head. I call extreme people, but I actually, we're going to have a new segment on this show coming up in the next few weeks, and it's actually going to be, I'm rejecting the definition online that I saw with this, but I consider myself a conservative liberal, 100%, because yes, I'm very socially. Now, see, if you go online and you look up that definition, that means I'd be socially conservative and economically liberal. But I don't believe that whatsoever. It's the reverse. I'm socially very liberal. Hey, man, live your
I
life.
think that's how I describe myself: fiscally conservative
Yeah,
and socially liberal.
yeah. 100%. It's like there's something taking place out there that I'm actually loving. That's taking place, and I'm watching true liberal mindseted individuals starting to distance themselves from the extreme left. because they're getting ticked off that the extreme left is including them in their crazy. And you've seen it start to happen a few years ago, maybe earlier, where the conservative, group was starting to distance itself from the far right. Like, nah, the whole, I'll say it, I'll bring it out. Mike Pence, the most prime example of, you can pray the gay away. That ridiculous horse shit can stay on the far right. Okay, I have no problem saying that, because that is asinine. Because conservative and liberal, these are good words, man, and we got to stop trying to use them as insult. I'm a huge one on that, but I'm gonna start having a little op-ed that we're gonna throw out there every now and again, giving people an idea to go, hey, guess what? You can have a moderate view on something and be right down the middle and realize that, hey, this is okay. Look at that. We can compromise. How weird is that? But no, I wanted you to know that just how proud I am of that we're adults, you and me.
Sometimes our 12-year-old brains flare up.
That's another part I do love about you, is that, yes, you get my ridiculous, stupid, immature humor that I try to hide in those meetings as much as I can.
I know. Sometimes I just want to jump up and.
Kate Paulin is the same way. Every now and again, something will be said, and I'll turn over and I'll look at you, or I'll look at her, and if one of you are looking at me, I'm like, oh, I can't say anything. He said duty. Something stupid like that.
Right. Or yeah, and you weren't there for. I don't know if this is the appropriate platform, but I was just sitting by myself, dying one day because the F word came up.
Oh, wow.
Not the FUC word. Oh. The one you and I laughed about.
Oh, no. You have to throw it in the private chat for me? You can say it here unless it's really bad. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about. Let me see. Oh, right. Yeah. That actually came out in a conversation, huh?
I was stuck. And I'm like, oh, damn it, Gene's not here.
Right. Sorry, folks. That's an inside joke there. We're not going to air that one there. This one goes way, because it would take too long to explain, and then it wouldn't be funny to everybody else.
Yeah, right.
Right. My wife and I constantly go through that. It's like, no one else would be laughing at us right now. They would just think we're ridiculous.
Now, are we going to do a segment? You had talked about you were going to pick one from the hat.
I was, but I think, to be honest with you on this one here, because this is recorded, what's happening right now, I will say that while we're recording this, which is going to be about a week and a half before it airs, I wanted to just do good news, right? Two pieces. One. The good news is this. That we heard, but I was going to do a downrange segment on it, but not necessarily. I'm hoping that by the time this airs, moronic, ignorant egos get put to the side, and this handles out, is that possibly we're going to have some peace in the Middle East. The ceasefire talks happened, then Iran and Israel decided to be dumbasses, and
we sent them after the ceasefire. I mean, before the ceasefire. Yeah.
And I got to say, like him or not, that response was about as real as it humanly got. His response to our president's response to the reporters of, no, I don't know what the hell they're doing. And he was not happy with Israel. He was not happy with Iran. And he dropped the F-bomb right on national TV.
Yeah.
He's about as real as it gets when it comes to that filter coming off, man. So he clearly wasn't too happy with all parties involved. But hopefully by the time this airs, we're actually seeing, because, we said this 2 episodes ago. I can tell you, at least for the last 30 years, crippling Iran's ability in nuclear games has been needed to get done. No one's got it done. There's just no question about it. I mean, they have been the closest threat that we've always had to nuclear issues in that region. So the fact that it's gone, I wish more diplomacy could have been used in the process there. But you know what? Selfishly, I'm going to say none of our men and women were injured, and so the mission went off. Things
True.
got done. Now let's see if we can get a pathway here to, calm the hell down.
Stabilization.
Yeah. So the other thing that I was going to do, I'm not going to do, and that was going to be a health segment here because I'm going to get a little bit more science behind some of these. I'm not a nutritionist, right? But I am knocking on the door of 40 pounds down, and I want to try to share that for some other folks on what I've done, because I kid you not, 2/3 of a sheet cake sitting downstairs on my counter. I mean, you're talking to Sugar Man here, right? And I haven't been tempted. It's really weird.
Nice.
Yeah, this came from my wife's mother's birthday party on Sunday, and they sent the cake home with us. I'm like, why? Our house, we're the ones. No. So I'm trying to stuff cake down my son and his girlfriend. I'm trying to get them to eat it. Like, take it downstairs and just, make yourself sick. Have at it. But yeah, we'll get into that. I'm going to explore the health side a little bit more there to give a little more sustenance to some of those. But good news is, there's a lot of good things going on out there, and it's just a matter of, go find them. That's the biggest piece. Get away from social media. I said this 2 episodes ago, and I'm going to say it again. Both sides are playing the game, and people want to keep the fear-mongering going for whatever reason. Both sides are doing it. Don't think they're not. If you think they're not, you're being played. That's what they want. Go outside. Go fishing. Go for a hike. Go for a bike ride. Go boating. Go bird walking.
Walk your dog.
Walk your dog. Yes. I don't have a dog.
I have a dog. She needs to be walked.
I have a grand dog.
Oh.
What kind of dog do you have? Rescue?
A mutt. Yeah, a rescue.
Nice.
I had her DNA test done, and she's literally everything.
That's awesome. They're the best usually.
She's the worst dog I've ever owned.
You see, we're on opposite ends, and we still get along.
I call her Cujo. We have spent thousands of dollars getting her trained. She will be 5, and she was a COVID dog. All the things happened during COVID. I thought, oh, we're all home. This is going to be the best trained dog we've ever had.
Oh, shit. So Cujo, huh?
Cujo, but she's turning into Ruthie slowly but surely, and I think we're pretty close. Like, you could come over and she will not eat you.
That's nice. Yeah. Because I'm going to stay in my truck now if I ever come by to visit.
I mean, I could do the scrolly scroll, but I don't know. Oh, wait, you can do searches on phones. I forget about this.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, she's gorgeous. She's a cutie.
Those eyes would kill you.
Completely innocent. She's just misunderstood.
As we all are.
Right? Awesome. Well, Dianna, thank you so much for coming and sitting and chatting with us. Folks, the Chill Shop, you got to check them out. They're supporting the True Patriot Outfitters. This family has supported the True Patriot Outfitters, and by that, all the organizations that we work with, such as the Romans Warrior Foundation and Heroes Media Group, and supporting those, taking care of those that take care of us is a big deal. But beyond that, the Chill Shop has awesome jewelry. They got super cool workshops, and it's affordable stuff, man, and it's high quality, and it comes from the creative vision of Dianna Rands, right? For sure. Go check out the website at thechill.shop. Also at Facebook and Instagram, you can hit them up at The Chill Shop LLC. Go give them a follow there. Watch that stuff. You've constantly got coupons and different deals that you're running, and it's coming across your social media channels. So it's worth the follow out there, folks. Go follow them there, and you'll get into some good deals and so forth that she offers each month. That come down there. Plus, you'll stay plugged in.
And if you join our email list, I tend to give away jewelry to people that are on the email list. You only hear about it if you're on the email list.
Right. So get on the email list is what you should be taking from this. As always, folks, make sure at Double S Podcast YouTube, smash the subscribe for us. It's a big, big help. We're trying to build this thing grassroots from the ground up. We're not using the Doc Talks past history with its subscribers and such. We're building the Double S Podcast from the ground up. So at YouTube, that's the main place. The Double S doesn't have its own Facebook or Instagram. That's why we pipe it through from the True Patriot Outfitters out there. But it's the YouTube channel. So that could be a huge, huge help for us out there. Make sure you smash that for us. Like, comment, all that good stuff, along with all of the Chill Shop socials that we just gave you there. Dianna, thank you so very much. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to make it tomorrow. I might have to do Zoom tomorrow. Got getting out of town for the TRP meeting there. But, yeah, I'll have to see a little bit later tonight. But
I'll be zooming in tomorrow.
That's right. So hopefully I'll catch up with you because we don't do one the Wednesday before this show would air. I don't think it's going to be we're doing one that week, do we?
Not the 2nd.
4th of July, right? So it'll be after that. Cool. Awesome. Well, hopefully there's a TRP for us to come back to. That would be handy. I don't know what's going on over there right now. I kid.
You kid. We're still recording. Are you going to truncate?
Nope. Because I'll bet you not many of them tune into this podcast.
I'm going to be pumping it.
You will be, yes, but we'll see. We'll see who who follows it. They have to go all the way to the 1 hour and 6 minute mark before they're going to know the little Easter egg that I left for them there. I'll take you fishing, or I'll give you a custom lure if you mention that statement that I made. And you're part of the
hidden
TRP.
Messages.
That's right. I learned. See, I learned quickly. Awesome. Dianna, thank you so very much. Hang around with me here after we roll this bad boy out. Folks, Brian usually has some cool, peace and hair grease and all, whatever kind of parting message. We'll go with my old tested, tried and true one, which is tight lines and be safe. We'll see you next Sunday.